Chapter 12. An alliance had been made between Badring the Tyrant and Captain Trommen Clog. Still not trusting each other, the two villainous stoats affixed their signatures to a sprawling birch-bark parchment, Badring writing his name in a curly, flourishing script, whilst Clog laboriously scrawled an X and a crude sketch of a wooden clog, his mark. It was witnessed by Gerard the Rat for Marshink and Boggs the Ferret for the Corsairs. Trommen repeated the terms as he and the Tyrant took a joint beaker of best parsley wine.
"Ha ha! So, as I sees it, you're going to call off your troops and lend me some slaves to refurbish and refloat my ship. Meself, on the other paw, won't attack, harass, or demand slaves from you. I'm to understand that the slaves you lend me is still yours and have to be returned, right?"
Badring sipped his wine and nodded, tapping the parchment.
"Aye, agreed. And don't forget all this. At such times as you have a seaworthy craft to sail off in, I keep half of your crew as hostages. When, or if, you return having taken more slaves, then they get divided equally between us, and you get your hostages returned to give you a full crew."
Clog stroked his pleated whiskers, narrowing one eye.
"Fairly said, partner. Fairly said. And I can feed me crew from your supplies and billet them here in your fancy fort, though I'm never to tell other corsairs or sea rats, as I may come across on the high seas, the location of this here place."
Badring nodded, refilling Clog's beaker.
"Right. Don't forget, Trommen. After the first cargo of slaves is split between us, you guarantee to sell any further slaves from other voyages only to me. I'll give you the best of weapons, trade goods, and supplies."
Clog slopped wine as he threw back his head and drained the beaker, then draped a paw around Badring's shoulders.
"Just like in the good old days, eh, matey?"
The Tyrant reciprocated by throwing his paw about Clog's neck.
"Aye, aye, ye say, just like in the good old days, Trommen. But this time, there'll be no underpaw dealings, traitors, or spy beasts." "Spy beasts? I never use spy beasts, matey."
The pirate stoat adopted a look of injured innocence.
There.
Badring patted Clog's neck affectionately.
"I know you haven't. There's nothing worse than a spy beast. Why, if I thought there was one in my fortress, I'd tie him to the gates and let my archers use him for target practice. Look, just like that fox over yonder."
He turned Clog's neck with his paw so that the corsair was looking at the inside of Marshink's main gates. The carcass of Scalrag hung there, stuck with so many arrows. It was like a pincushion. Even though he was seething inwardly, Clog grinned from ear to ear.
"Foxes was allus traitors. I never liked that one."
Badring tightened his grip on Clog's neck momentarily, then released him. The Tyrant matched the corsair grin for grin.
"Neither did I, matey. Neither did I."
Early morning sun bathed the shore beyond the headland, promising a high, hot day. Roanoke harnessed herself between the shafts of the Rosehip's gaily painted cart, and they moved further along the shoreline, away from the close proximity of Marshink. Fildo and Brome enjoyed the company of the rambling Rosehip creatures greatly. They had been accepted immediately as friends and possible members. By mid-morning, they had set up their camp on the cliff tops, where they had an excellent view of the area without revealing their presence. The Hare, Bala de Kintsworld, and Roanoke were in close conference while the rest unpacked and prepared lunch. Brome helped Gotchi and Castern to prepare a leek and bean soup, sniggering with the two mice as they watched the pretty squirrel Celadine trying to flirt shamelessly with a much-embarrassed Feldo, as he unloaded the cart, blushing to his tail-tip at her simpering compliments.
Oh, Mr. Feldo, you're so strong. You lifted that trunk as if it were no more than a feather. I'll bet you must be the most powerful squirrel in the whole country.
Feldo was completely lost for words. He turned away from the cart and started breaking some driftwood up for the fire. Celadine dabbed at her brow with a dainty lace square.
Oh my! I'd be all seasoned just trying to break one teensy piece of that wood with an axe. And look at you, sir, snapping it in those great paws of yours like it was dead grass.
Trefoil, the other squirrel maid, unceremoniously bundled a pile of tunics at Celadine.
Here, missy, get your paws wet washing those through, and leave that poor fellow alone before he turns into a beetroot.
The temptress flounced off in a huff, laden with dirty washing. Trefoil began snapping wood alongside Feldo.
Take no notice of her, friend. I've seen her fluttering her eyelashes at dragonflies.
Buckler the mole was erecting the awning as a sunshade.
But aye, she'm a girt flirter, that un.
He chuckled.
He loosed me heart her long seasons ago. But she'm a fine actress, too.
The food was good and simple. Hot soup, followed by wheat flour pancakes spread with wild honey. The company lounged beneath the awning, eating and drinking cool mint and buttercup cordial from an old stone jar. Roanoke shook her great head.
What in the names of trees and turnips made us ramble this far up the land? I'll never know. We had good times in the South, friendly creatures to entertain, nice places to stop a while.
Bala the hare made a pancake disappear with alarming speed.
True. But what's a chap got up here in this bally neck of the woods? Fortresses, tyrants, and corsairs. Bit thick, isn't it, what? About the only decent thing was meeting you two jolly lads.
The rest of the company murmured agreement. Roanoke stared patiently at the hare. Bala carried on guzzling cordial, unaware that he had interrupted her flow.
If you're quite finished, Mr. de Kingswold. If you're quite finished, Mr. de Kingswold,
she continued. Bala dispatched another pancake, daintily licking honey from his paws.
Not finished dealing with these pancakes, Rowan, me old oak. But don't let me stop you talking. You eat less when you talk.
The badger eyed him frostily before continuing.
Thank you. Now what I have to say concerns our new friends, Feldo and Brome. Here is what I propose. We're up here anyway, for better or worse, so we may as well do something useful. It goes without saying that we will keep our eyes peeled for any sign of their companions, Brome's sister, Martin, and the mole Grum. But meanwhile, as Feldo has told us, his father Barkyon is a slave in that dreadful fortress. It makes my blood boil when I think of a creature being enslaved, robbed of freedom, beaten, starved, and forced to labor for some jumped-up villain. What do you think?
There was an instant chorus of agreement with Roanoke.
Shame! Poor old Barkyon! It's a flamin' liberty, what? Yeah! No beastie should be slave to another! Oh, I can't imagine it. We've always been free. It's disgraceful, that horrid stoat.
Roanoke let them carry on working up their indignation before carrying on with her speech. When they had done, she continued.
When Bala and I formed the Rambling Rosehip Players, we took on only talented creatures we knew we could rely on. I personally have never been disappointed in any of you. That is why today we are all gathered. Oh, stop taking a bally sea voyage to get round a cockle shell, old gal. We all want to rescue Feldo's old pater, don't we? Aye!
The response was loud and wholehearted.
Good show! Then let's stop jaw-banging and get to it, what?
Roanoke passed Bala the pancakes and honey. She was smiling.
Thank you, Bal, you old rascal. Now we need a strategy, and you know the best way that a traveling company can scout the land?
Buckler held up a sticky digging paw. Buckler held up a sticky digging claw.
Yes, ma'am. Let's go there and put on a show.
What? Feldo spluttered on his drink. Now just hold fast a moment, friends. It's very kind of you to offer to rescue my dear old dad, but we've got an appointment with Martin in Noonvale. Our plan is to raise an army and free all the slaves. And anyway, you'd last as long as a leaf on a bonfire at Marshank. Castor and the mousemaid chuckled.
Listen, Squirrel, if you'd been half the places we'd been and done a quarter of the things we've done, you'd know better. I'd say you would, old lad. Gouchy, remember we put on the courtin of the frog and the caterpillar for all those fierce toads in the south swamps? Do I ever?
The mousemaid nibbled her carrot, shaking with mirth.
With you playing the villainous toad, Uncle, I thought those toads were so enraged they were going to toss us in the swamp.
Celadine giggled.
And they would have too. Good job they let Celadine Butterfly tie them all up with the magic rope that would make them all handsome.
The whole company fell about laughing as Castor pointed at Roanoke.
That was when Boucher Bountiful hoisted them all up into a tree and told them they too would turn into beautiful butterflies and fly away. You should have seen their bally faces when we ate all their feast and went off, leaving them all hanging from a tree, waiting to turn into butterflies.
When the laughter had subsided, Roanoke winked at Feldo and Brome.
No need to worry about us. We know what we're doing.
Feldo grasped the badger's paw. I don't know how to thank you. Trefoil was rummaging in the cart.
Oh, don't thank us. We won't be doing it all on our own. You two will be taking part in the show.
Brome leapt up in alarm.
But they'd recognize us right off.
Castor placed a huge frog mask over the young mouse's head.
There, your own mama wouldn't recognize you now.
Roanoke clapped her hefty paws together. Righto! Clear the food away! We've got a show to rehearse. Feldo, you look strong enough to be a good catcher. Celadine fluttered her eyelashes.
Oh, he could catch me any time of the season.
Roanoke gave her a glare, then ignored her.
Brome, sorry you can't sing on this job. Your voice is too recognizable. However, you would make a rather good frog maiden. Me? A frog maiden? Why, certainly, old lad, and I'll be your wicked Uncle Toad. Oh, me proud beauty, you shall never marry that caterpillar.
Feldo shook his head in bewilderment as Buckler stuck a large red ball on the tip of his nose. It sounds just crazy enough to work.